to talk about bias in research and in studies. Okay, so the first question, when evaluating the believability, which is what I have a hard time with almost everything that's published these days, with the believability of a claim is whether or not the questions and procedures were designed in such a way as to eliminate bias. So both the questions and the way they're presented need to be designed in such a way to eliminate bias. So it's critical for statisticians and researchers to avoid leading questions or questions that are vague or confusing. Now, if I am given a survey and the questions are leading, I don't answer them. And I get to the comment section and I let them know which questions they worded incorrectly. Okay? Sometimes I get surveys that are so biased, I'm not filling them out. They find their way into my trash can quickly. Like I got one last week from a political party. And they force you to answer every question the way they want it answered.
That's stupid.
I don't even bother. I'm not even putting a stamp on that. Okay. So, for example, asking someone each of the following questions may elicit different responses even though all three questions address the same topic. Now, number one, is it really possible for a person to believe that wearing a seatbelt is not completely necessary? Did this question not call you stupid if you answered it wrong? Did y'all hear that in there?
Yeah.
It did.
Stupid.
It basically said, you're a big dummy if you don't answer this right. Okay? So, it was leading us to a certain response. Okay? So, this is a poor question. Poor. Alright, number two. Is wearing a seatbelt necessary for the complete safety of all passengers? That one's not leading.
Good.
That one's pretty fair, isn't it? Yeah, it's good. That's a fair question. Alright, number three. Wearing a seatbelt is currently required by state law. That's pretty much a fact. Do you agree with this law? Now, did they tell you which way to think about it?
No.
No, they just asked, which way do you think? Fair?
Fair.
Fair.
Perfect. Hold on. Cops are setting you up. Yes or no?
The design of a statistical study is considered biased if it systematically favors certain outcomes. So basically, if the way they word the question is forcing you into a certain answer, yeah, then that's bad. I don't answer those questions. Biased sampling methods. So this is how we select our sample. Different ways to select those people we're actually going to survey or use for experiment, and it's not always people, it can be different things. With voluntary response, this is people. This is where you self-select, where you decide. So this can be called voluntary response or self-selected. And with this particular sampling process, the members of the population, can I say pop instead of population?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. The members of the population choose whether or not to participate. Okay, so have you ever had to call a company and they ask you if at the end of the phone call you would answer the survey?
Yes.
And you get to decide yes or no?
I just hang up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you decide no. Okay? Have you ever been to Chick-fil-A and gotten the little thing at the bottom of your receipt that says, if you choose to take this survey, you can get a free chicken sandwich?
No, I never see that.
In our family, that's not a choice. If you get that receipt, you do the survey. We're all about free chicken sandwiches. Okay?
Never see that.
But you get a choice.
It's a family.
All right, so if you get to choose whether or not you're going to participate, I've asked this before today. Has anybody been asked to do a survey when walking through a mall?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I
I
have that in China.
In China?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've been asked. I usually say no, thank you. And then they follow me. And no, thank you.
I just ignore them.
No, I'm good.
All right.
No, good. I'm good.
Convenience sampling.
Just keep
Now,
walking.
this is where you choose the members of your population that are easiest to access. Okay, so if right now you had to give a survey for your U.S. history class, would any of you ask if you could do it in this class?
Yeah.
Would that be convenient for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be convenient sampling. Now, these two are often biased. And the reason being is you generally do not get a good representative group of the entire population. Like if we surveyed in this class, we only get juniors. So if we were trying to find out something about juniors, that might be okay. But if we were looking to investigate something about Stars Mill High School students, we've neglected 9th, 10th, and 12th graders. Not completely, but almost. Okay? Voluntary response. I know when I choose or don't choose to be part of this, it's usually because I'm passionate about it, one way or the other. I really love something, or I hate it. Very seldom do I respond if I'm kind of either way. I take it or leave it. So you're going to get biased answers. Okay. Now, less biased methods are simple random sampling, systematic, stratified, and cluster. This is the first choice. This is what we should do if possible. A simple random sample. Best one. And if you take statistics, they'll refer to this as SRS. And this is where every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Now, one way we might be able to do that here at Stars Mill is all of you guys have student numbers. And we could randomly select from the student numbers 100 different students. Now, there are random number generators that would tell us where we could go. Like if we gave your student number and then we numbered you 1 to 1400. We could use a random number generator that says choose number 3, choose number 17, choose number 392. Yes.
Would it be like more or less random to just say 100 from each grade and just do 400?
Well, you just jumped to something called a stratified random sample. And this, if I had to pick, this would be my second choice. This, let's denote that though. I wouldn't say it's the second choice of everyone. It's Willoughby's second choice. All right, so what does a stratified random sample? That means that our sample is chosen randomly but it's chosen from different groups. or categories. And the example that Carson just gave is perfect. So what if we randomly selected 20 freshmen, 20 sophomores, 20 juniors, and 20 seniors? That is a stratified random sample. And when I was doing data for grad school, that's what I would do. I would divide into different categories and then choose from those categories. Because my numbers were small and not large, I only had like 120 students, I had to be careful. If I had an extremely large pool, thank goodness I don't, then a simple random sample would have nailed it. All right, a systematic sample. Systematic is where our members of the population are chosen following a rule.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean chosen
No.
following a rule?
So let's say
Like every other student.
every other student would be a very large, like we could, if the students were aligned alphabetically, we could start with the 3rd student and then pick every 12th student after that.
Oh, that's a rule.
So there's a rule. Now you have to come up with the rule before you start choosing. So you can't force the data you want into your sample. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you make up the rule and then you go select. All right, finally a cluster sample. Now, a cluster sample can be poor because this cluster sample is when you choose, or the members are chosen all from one group.
Not have people.
Now, sometimes that's good.
So
Sometimes it's not.
Depends what are you.
It depends what I'm picking. So, let's say we were trying to come up with a sample from Starsmill High School, and we chose you guys. We talked about it. Wendy's, that's my name. Willoughby 7th period. It would be extremely representative, but what if we chose a class where it's all different grade levels? Maybe a chorus or a band or a PE, or what would have all 9 through 12?
US history, work history,
one
team sport,
Speech and debate.
speech and
Team
debate.
sport, speech and debate. So if we picked one of those as our cluster group, it would be better. All right, make sense?
Training. Yeah.
Weight training.
Well, weight training, is that biased in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
Why?
All
Male.
male.
It's male.
Except for Tornadoes.
Oh, so
Tara's sister.
It's-
size.
I took weight training in high school. Yeah.
I have a class I think we should do.
I took
You're weight training?
No,
one semester I
girl, she said
took,
she wanted to be a
what do you call aerobics? Do they still do that? Probably not.
She's a
I took aerobics and then I was like, I can't do this. It's too girly. And then I moved over to weight training 2nd semester.
get big.
Big.
No. Just because you do weight training doesn't mean you have to lift like 300 pounds. I like my little 10-pounders
Did you improve?
over and over again. I was pretty strong.
20 pounds.
Did you ever show up
That's
any
30 pounds. The will.
My leg press was pretty respectable.
What was it?
Can't remember, but I did outpress several of the boys. Not all of them. Not all of them. No, that was
I'll
big.
press
Did you all press press?
All right, but upper body, no.
Dude,
Example 1. A teacher wants to survey everyone at her school about the quality of school lunches. Okay. So our population is everyone at the school, right? But we're creating a sample. So So, if the teacher surveys every 7th student that goes through the lunch line. So first of all, what type is this?
A pattern. So
Okay, yes, we have a pattern, a rule.
systematic.
So it's systematic. Very good. It's a systematic sampling method. Now, is there any bias to our method?
Only kids that
No.
other lunch?
Oh,
You're
no,
right.
That's what it is for the.
That is what it is. We are only surveying students that buy lunch.
Yes, of course.
Only students who already buy lunch.
Oh, very cool.
So, if the kids that thought the lunch was terrible quit buying lunch, they're not included in our sample, are they?
Yeah.
So we got to buy a sample. It's not representative of the entire population. Okay, and now, from a random name lottery, a teacher chooses 150 students and teachers. Okay, random, so what kind is this?
Simple random.
Simple random.
Yes. So our type here is simple random sample. Now, I don't see a whole lot of bias. I'm digging for this bias. Now, out of school, are the only people that eat lunch teachers and students?
Administrators.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're omitting administrators and staff.
Wait, so with the. So that wouldn't be, since it's students and only students and teachers would be a bias, not a rule.
The type of sampling method is simple random sampling. And the reason we chose that is because we were randomly choosing 150.
So like it can't be
Yep.
a mix of both, it's always one.
No, some of them are hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Number 2. A local politician wants to survey his constituents. He mails the survey to constituents that are members of his political party and only uses the surveys that are returned. So if we're only using what's returned, what type is it? Did they come to your house and make you do it?
No.
No.
Comments?
So this is voluntary response or self-selected. You could call it either one. Voluntary response, self-selected. Those are the same thing. Okay, is there bias? Yes. Because he only sent it to his party. If he really cares about what all his constituents think, he would have sent it to everybody in his area from both parties, right? All right. Number 3. On this one, we're determining, is the question clear? Because we don't want ambiguous questions. And is it slanted? Okay, if it's slanted, we've got some bias. So is it clear and is it biased? So, A, some cell phone users have developed brain cancer. I'm reading bias already. Should all cell phones come with a warning label explaining the dangers of using cell phones? Okay, it is clear. I was not confused at all. But the first sentence told me what my answer should be. It was slanted. It was guiding me to give a certain answer. Biased. It's really hard to write questions that aren't. It's difficult. B. Do you agree that a national system of health insurance should be favored because it would provide health insurance for everyone and would reduce administrative costs? Is that clear?
Yes,
Yes, bias.
Is it biased?
Yes.
Yes.
It's only showing the benefits.
It's only showing the benefits. Agreed.
Somebody's doing a speech or debate.
C. In view of escalating environmental degradation and incipient resource depletion, would you favor economic incentives for recycling of resource-intensive consumer goods?
Clear
Okay,
bias.
if you have to Google the definition to anything in the sentence, it is not clear. Okay? So, this one is too technical.
Not clear.
It is not clear. That's fine. You can say not clear.
And
Okay?
Bias.
Not clear. That's fine.
yeah.
Ambiguous. Now I'm using the not clear words. Alright. Is it biased?
No.
Yeah.
Can you even tell what it's saying?
Yeah, actually no, it's not biased. Because it's only stating a fact, and I can't tell the thing. Yeah.
No
It's saying
bias.
to it's
Okay,
explaining
so as we
bias.
use up all our resources
Yes.
and the environment goes,
So
you
yes, it's
know,
biased.
terrible,
But
would
it's a
you
fact.
favor us paying you to recycle things?
Yes.
That's what it said,
It's like
right?
enticing you with
But
hey,
first it said, hey, everything's terrible,
yeah.
end of the
So
world,
it's bias.
the sky is falling, bias.
Chicken leg?
Alright, your homework is right here, book, and it's at the end of the notes if you need it. It's like a 4-minute assignment at most if you're a slow reader.
Wait, can you go over how like the last one was going?
Yeah, let me cut off the recording.